And welcome to the Kayak Bass Connection podcast. This is the official podcast of the Southern Illinois Kayak Club Tournament Trail. I'm your host, Jared, and this episode we're going to be recapping our latest tournament through Southern Illinois Kayak Club at Little Grassy Lake in Southern Illinois. That just occurred on July 6th, 2024. So, hey, we're lucky we've got the top three finishers that have joined us tonight. So I want to introduce real quick. In third place finish here was Kendall Mazo. Did I say that right? Mazo?
Almost. You say how most people do, but it's Kendall Mazo.
All right, Mazo. All right, great. He's from Goreville, Illinois. Then second place, we had Corey Forsyth from Batalto. Welcome to the podcast, Corey.
Right on. Thank
And
you.
then our winner, once again, this is kind of like a repeat theme here, Susie Roloff from Pekin, Illinois. So congratulations on the win, Susie. In a row, if anybody's counting here. So have all of you fished Little Grassy before, or is the lake new to you?
It's brand new
I
to
fished
me.
it before.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only like 15, 20 minutes away from the house. I don't get out there very much, just because there's other lakes around, but I've been out there a few times.
Okay, outstanding. So I understand the lake, the conditions maybe were unusual, right? When you got to the lake for the tournament? Can you kind of explain what was going on?
Yeah, so there's issues with the dam there at Little Grassy and has been for quite a while, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing any maintenance on it anytime soon. From my understanding, the lake level dropped like 6 or 7 feet, just
Man.
historically. So right at the ramp, you could see the water line. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. So they're not working on it or anything, so it's probably going to remain low until who knows when, right?
You got it.
Yeah. So that's a quick change in conditions. We don't see much in Illinois unless you're dealing with some sort of flood controls reservoir or something like that. Usually our water is fairly stable. It may drop 6 inches a foot, but it's not going to drop 5 or 6 feet generally. So what kind of adjustments do you both? And it looks like we lost Corey for a moment. Maybe he'll get back on with us. What kind of adjustments do you look whenever you're dealing with a lower water table than usual?
For me, with it being my first time on this lake, I had seen that it typically had like grassy points and whatnot. And of course, when I got there, that definitely wasn't the case. And there was a lot of exposed timber. And so for me, it was just more or less kind of checking things out, seeing what would show up on the graph, if there was any kind of vegetation anywhere, and just kind of, adjusting from there.
What about you, Kendall? Did you notice more or less vegetation than usual there?
Definitely less. And for me, the times that I pre-fished it, I was focusing on that timber that was visible because that's what you could see. It was abundantly clear where the timber was when you got back in those pockets. And that's what I kind of focused on in pre-fishing. And honestly, I didn't do too hot at all. I actually did horrible. So my plan the day of the tournament was, I was like, I got to find grass. I got to find points that are producing. And I didn't mess with the timber that much that day.
What about you, Susie? Did you concentrate on grass or timber or either one, or just bounce back and forth?
I mainly concentrated on the timber. It's my comfort zone in a sense. I'm used to fishing submerged wood stumps, timber, stuff like that. So I figure, since there wasn't as much vegetation on the surface or even partially down, halfway down the water column and whatnot, I figure, okay, I know there's structure and cover in there of some way, shape, or form with that exposed timber. And I was like, I'm just going to focus on those.
Okay, awesome. Corey, welcome back. I'm glad to have your connection back. So we were just kind of talking about the overall conditions of the lake being down dramatically from what we're used to. What kind of experiences have you had on that lake before?
I mean, I fished it maybe 3 times before, and from what I remember before, there was quite a bit of grass and there was none to be around. A lot of standing timber, trees. So it was nice to be able to actually see it before you hit it. But it was just all around different animals.
Different experience. Yeah, and you got to wonder with that drop in the vegetation level, how's that going to affect the forage, and then how's it going to affect the bass? I wouldn't think that's going to be good for the population there. So, well, we can't go much further without talking about the monster fish that was taken. You know, everybody expected that there would be some decent fish taken out of that lake, but Susie, you hit upon a 21-inch fish to take not the big bass of the tournament, and I believe it's the biggest bass of the season so far. For the
22
kayak
is
club,
the biggest
as they have a
season.
22. Okay,
Yep, there's a 22.
But that 21 was really not expected. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. I didn't figure out a good solid pattern or bite until really, really late. I first was trying like shaky head, Cinco, along the brush the submerged timber, and then I was working points with the shaky head, and I got my first one on the shaky head, and I thought, okay, maybe, I'll have good luck with that, and I fished that for a couple of hours and didn't have another single bite, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll just, have to try something different.
Wow.
And then I was trying, I went way far back in the western arm. And, I saw lily pads and stuff back there. And I was like, oh, man, that's right up my alley. And I lost a couple on topwater blow-ups. So I was like, okay, this is, a great day so far.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to, focusing on the exposed timber and everything. And that's when I was like, okay, I could see the fish lower, kind of hovering around that 8 to 10 foot mark. And so I was like, all right, I'll just start throwing a crankbait and see what happens. And then I got my next fish. That was I had gotten a third fish with doing that technique, and then I had come about to like the middle of the Y, and was checking out some other timber spots and whatnot, and I was just casting that crankbait as far out as I could so I could get it down as deep as I could. And I was trying to, skirt right next to those to all the different logs and everything that were standing up, and I just all of a sudden it stopped. And so at first I thought, okay, yep, I just got hung up on one of these trees or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it started moving. I was like, okay, there's a fish on, but the way it was moving, it felt like a catfish because it felt like it was kind of going like that. And I was like, okay, and then it wrapped around a tree trunk. And so I was just like, oh God, what is this? Finally, it got around the tree trunk, and then I was reeling it up, and then I saw it, and I saw it, I landed it in the net, and I brought it in the boat. And, I thought maybe it was going to be like a 19 or 20, and I put her on the board, solid 21, and like I screamed. Just like,
it could be heard.
There were people who could hear me. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know how close I was to you or how far I was to you, but I could hear you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was so stoked and so pumped because that was my fourth fish. And if I remember right, let me look at that picture again because it was really late in the day when I got that fish.
That big fish was at 1:35
it was
p.m.
1:35. I had less than an hour to try to get my limit. So like I was just stoked. I was all riled up. I was like, okay, I was screaming and hollering and just it was
and your second biggest fish was a 17.5, and it came less than 20 minutes later.
Yeah, it was like 18 minutes later, kind of around in the same area. And it wasn't until I got that fifth fish that I finally realized what was triggering to get that crankbait. And so what I figured out is every now and then the crankbait would kind of get stuck in some of that really, really low vegetation. I'm not sure exactly. It wasn't like moss or whatever, but it was. Oh God, I can't even think of the type of name of it or whatever. But like I would kind of keep bringing it up and having to clean my crankbait off, and so what I noticed with that fifth one is I was cranking it through, I could feel it kind of getting caught up a little bit on the grass, and then I would pop it, and bam, they would just hammer it. And I was like, okay, this is good. A little late in the day, but I was okay.
Yeah, a little dramatic. Yeah, that's awesome. So what you said you got wrapped around a tree. So what kind of line were you using with your crankbait?
I had 15-pound fluoro on.
Okay, so pretty stout line. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Corey, you ended up here. I think your biggest fish of the day was a 17.5. Was that? Looks like it was caught in the morning, or about 11 o'clock in the morning. Did you have a late morning bite or early afternoon bite, or how'd it go for you?
I was hitting them real good early morning, and then it kind of dropped off, and I started changing techniques, trying to see what else, because I was hitting them in the morning with the chatterbait, and I wanted to find something different, maybe to find a bigger bite. And so I tied on a trick worm, and I started catching fish again. I smacked 2 catfish back to back.
Oh man!
I just happened to toss out the line, and it was like almost like a lazy cast, just getting it back out there, kind of clearing my spool off because it was kind of knotted up. And I mean, he whacked it, and then it was on the wrong rod. I just happened to get it in though.
Oh, that's awesome. So you Texas rigging with a weight, or how are you doing those worms?
8 pounds.
Okay.
Texas rig.
8 pounds. Man, that's a little lighter than a lot of people do a Texas rig. You have good luck with that?
What'd you say?
That's a little lighter than I would think that most people would use with a Texas rig. Do you think it gives them more action?
Well, no, on that rod I had 10-pound fluoro. It was just.
Oh, okay.
He said an eighth of an ounce.
What was it? Yeah, it was 10 pounds for weight and 10-pound fluoro.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, great. All right. So, Kendall, tell us about how your day went.
Well, the first cast of the day, I sent a picture in the group chat there, but it was like a half of a boot. So I pulled that in.
What were boots biting on that morning?
Underspin with a jug of minnow on it.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, so I threw that, and then I was like, okay, let me put the underspin up because I caught a boot on it first, and then I threw around top water. I threw on a popper for a second, and then I had a weightless fluke, and I wasn't having any luck, no love at all. And about 7:45, I don't know, 8, I ran into Corey, and I think he asked me, how you doing? I was like, man, not too hot. And he was like, I've caught, about 10 or so. And I was like, oh, man.
Don't you hate that when you run into somebody that says they're not doing too bad and they've caught 4 times more fish than you have?
Yeah, so I was like, okay,
happens all the time.
Something, and he graciously gave me a tip. He's like, they're biting on green right now. So he kind of switched over and was throwing a kind of a cross-style bait, green pumpkin, and got a couple bites off that and gained some confidence and went from there and was throwing that around and just kind of slowed down a little bit and got some bites and not the right ones that I was really looking for. And I got out of some of those coves. That's where I was focused on first, because in the pre-fishing, I was really focusing on the exposed timber and standing timber that you could, blatantly see in the back of all those pockets. And I didn't do too well, so it kind of scared me. I was like, okay, I need to change it up and try to find some grass and points and things like that, and broke back out the underspin and started really catching fish with it, and even caught a few yellow bass and stuff like that.
Nice. So how's that underspin do in the grass? Do you have to clean it off a lot, or?
Yeah, I mean, you have to pick it apart a little bit, but really, like with the ripping action, that's where I was getting most bites, just like Susie was mentioning with her deep diver. So it was doing just fine. Wasn't bugging me too bad.
Does anybody have any theories why they're getting those bites when you rip those lures off of something that's got them hung up?
I think they just can't stand it. Purely reaction. They just can't help themselves whether they're eating or not. I had a couple that fed up shad, little small shad and stuff on the boat after I got them up. So there was points where you could see them feeding, and I mean, you're sitting on a point and you got fish blowing up behind you, whether it be the yellow bass or largemouth or what, and you're like, okay, let me turn around and So there was points of the day where they were actively feeding, and then, like Corey said, there's points where you weren't getting no bites.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the things you hear people talk a lot about is lunar tables. And are you guys believers in those? Or have you noticed any trends and the best bites, and do they coincide with the different tables you see out there?
Like moon cycles, or
Yeah, moon cycles.
Moon
Yeah.
cycles.
I said
Gotcha.
lunar,
Oh.
moon cycles.
Like pressure.
In the spring and the spawn, I think that the spawn is very influenced by full moons, but other times of year, I don't know.
What'd you say, Corey?
I say you talking like the pressure and everything. Yeah. I kind of believe all that.
Yeah,
I think there's something to it as well. I'm like an avid bluegill fisherman and crappie fisherman and stuff like that. And I can definitely, I don't know if I can tell so much with the bass, but with a lot of these panfish that I go after, you can, after that full moon, they're on fire.
Yeah.
And don't they spawn on the full moon usually, the panfish?
Bluegill for sure.
Bluegill? Okay. So is there anything that you said that a lot of people say that they were fishing wood? What's your favorite bait to fish around wood?
Chatterbait is usually my typical favorite.
What about you, Corey?
Are you talking about like lay downs and whatnot?
Yeah.
I could throw a crawl in there.
Okay. Kendall?
Yeah. Same for me. I like to throw a crawl or some sort of soft plastic and just kind of be methodical with it.
So if I look at the results here, I mean, absent Susie's 21-inch fish, everything's pretty much under 18 inches with the 117.5 that Susie had. At least two of you have fished that lake before. Is that kind of representative of what you've seen in previous years, or do you think there's something going on with the population there for the better or worse?
I don't know if there's anything going on with the population or not, but it seems kind of on track. You'll have a bunch of cookie cutter fishes and then one big fish or a couple big fish. Wade, I got buddies that fish John boat tournaments there, and that's about how it goes. They'll have a guy that bring back a 5 or 6 pounder, and everybody else has.
Okay, awesome. So I'm looking at the Angler of the Year stats. This is pretty interesting for the Southern Illinois Kayak Club. So, Susie, you're right there in second, nipping on the heels of Dalton Williams. That's awesome. Dalton's a fantastic fisherman, so you've got your work cut out for you there.
Yeah, he is.
And then, Corey, you're sitting at fourth, not only 10 points away. You got Darren Hemker right. You're tied with him. I guess both of you are tied for third. Yeah. So does it change the way you fish when you're looking at maybe being Angler of the Year?
No.
It doesn't change your strategy at all? Now, I think Corey has mentioned, maybe I read it someplace about, has either one of you done the end of season tournament at the Crossroads yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Is that something you would want to do?
Yeah, I'd like to go further with the club.
Yeah. Now, Susie, I don't think you've done that tournament yet. I know you've helped with that tournament a lot, right?
I've helped, and I actually have competed in it before.
Oh, awesome. Well, you might just be in a spot to get you back and get another. Now, are you fishing the rest of the 6 events, you think?
I definitely am. I actually have kind of changed my a little bit of my schedule for September, because originally that weekend of the last tournament, which is Coffeen, that was actually going to be my weekend to go salmon fishing. And so I was like, I definitely want to fish all the events because I want to see how this all shakes out. So I moved my salmon fishing a week ahead, just to kind of shape that around a little bit. But I mean, as far as fishing differently and whatnot, I mean, if anything, what it changes is just my excitement, not only just for myself, but other people too. AOY races are always fun to watch, especially in the middle of the season, because the first 2-3 events, you're okay, anybody could be jumping up in there, and then you might have somebody just come way out of left field, and just totally shake things up. So,
by the way, Susie, that's you, just so you know.
Yeah.
I know.
Which we're happy to see. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just yep, I'm that, just, foul ball coming in high.
That's great. Now, Kendall, this is your first year, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, this is my first year with
Yeah,
the
first
club,
year with
and
Southern Illinois Kayak Club.
yeah, first year doing kayak
So what's your
competitions.
what's your impressions? I mean, what's your overall takeaway from the first few tournaments?
No, I'm really liking the format. So, I mean, obviously I have a lot to learn with, how things work and stuff like that. And I've already made a couple little mistakes and
Mm.
everything, but I'm really enjoying the club and the people that are in it. It's pretty welcoming. And, I co-angle with buddies with bass boat tournaments, and it's just, it's a completely different
Nice.
world. We're
Yeah, it
actually
is,
doing
isn't it?
Kincaid
Yeah.
tomorrow, Friday Night Derby. So hopefully,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it'll work out. But
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
Awesome.
it's a different vibe, man. It really is. Just, it's hard to explain, but it's definitely for the better.
Yeah. Now, Corey, you do some boat tournaments as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do a couple of them. We do the Wednesday nights
Yeah.
for Gillespie, and
So,
Brady and I are getting in a bass trail. I can't remember which one. We got a couple tournaments coming up.
oh, nice. So how? And I know Kendall, you said it's kind of hard to put in words. I mean, how would you kind of summarize the difference between the two competitive? Because they're both competitive. And, in both events, people are putting money into fish. Maybe on the kayak side, it's not quite as much as some of the bass tournaments. But can you just kind of give me an overall picture? What's the difference between the two worlds?
I guess a big thing is like camaraderie, not that people aren't friendly in the like bass club tournaments and stuff like that, but it's kind of clicky, where it's
Okay.
a couple guys, they talk to each other, share secrets, and then everybody else is, whatever. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you should share your secrets or anything like that, but just being friendly, acknowledging another person fishing next to you, that type of thing. And, I don't know, like I said, it's for the better, and enjoyed being in the club, and happy you guys have me.
Oh, awesome, Corey. What do you think?
We kind of went on two different areas.
There's the two different versions, two different attitudes and types of tournaments. How are they different? Just the culture.
I mean, I don't see a whole lot of difference between the two. The only difference is being on a boat, you got another brain you can pick for,
Yeah.
finding what works. Out on the kayak, you're alone, and you might pass by one person or a couple people and get to chit chatting, and everybody's real friendly. But other than that, I don't really see a big difference in the situations.
So why did you decide to make the transition to kayak, or did you start out there and you're dabbling in the boat world? I mean, what's the decision that you made to say I'm gonna enter these kayak tournaments versus try to stick with the boat?
Well, it'd be Brady's fault, honestly.
He drug you.
Yeah, I mean, we went out and started catching fish on kayaks, and it's like,
Awesome.
well, and obviously you upgrade kayaks, and as you upgrade, you're like, well, you know what? Let's start doing the tournaments, and then you continue doing the tournaments and upgrading your kayaks as you guys go. So
Yeah.
it's just fun all around.
Yeah, and it's great. You get to experience the sport from two different perspectives, right? From bass boat and from a kayak. Now, Susie, you mentioned something I'm going to quiz you about a little bit. Is your salmon fishing? I know I've seen a lot of posts from your Facebook page, and you inspired me to try to go up salmon fishing, and I never made it up there. I actually got two rods in the basement for trolling because of that, and I've never used them. They've never been used, so I want to do that in the future. How did you started doing the fall salmon run?
So it was when I actually first got involved with kayak fishing. I competed in the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series back in 2014. Was it? Yeah, God, it's been 10 years since I've been doing this.
That's
Holy
10 years,
cow!
yeah. I'm not real good at math, but I think that's 10 years. That's a decade.
It is. Yeah, I know, right? And so they that season was a unique season because they had the first event was a pikes tournament. The second one I think was a bass. The third one was a catfish tournament. And then their salmon tournament was like the last one of the season.
Okay.
And so I was a little kind of weary because it can be right off of Lake Michigan. And we launch out of Manitowoc. marina, and it's pretty protected. And so, you know, you don't have to go out onto the big lake if you don't want to. And it was kind of windy that day. And like, I would kind of get a little brave, but like, as soon as I'd start going out there and going over the waves, I'm like, nope, I'm going to go back up the river. You know, I was like, this is my first time out there and didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. And so I got one my very first time, and I mean, it was a pretty good sized king. And the first time you hook into one of those, it's an adrenaline rush that is just super addictive, and it's like nothing else you've ever reeled in before. And I'm sure you've probably seen some of my videos that I have out there, but I'll have my GoPro going, and I mean, you can see my kayak just spinning around as the the salmon's pulling me around and everything. And like, the average weight of these things that I catch is anywhere from 20 to 26 pounds per fish. Wow. Nice. I mean, they're massive. Yeah. And just ever since then, it's like my absolute most favorite time of year. And besides, bass fishing and everything, like, I look forward to it every year. It is yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be up there the Saturday, Sunday, and that Monday is Labor Day, and then also that Tuesday. So if anybody's interested, let me know.
I have plans to go elk hunting that weekend, but if that falls through, I may be getting a hold of you.
Yeah, I got plenty of rods and gear and stuff like that. So
I like to watch. Was it Shy City Yacker has a pretty good YouTube channel?
Yes, yep. I talk with him a lot too. I mean, he's like a pro at it and everything. But yeah, when I was kind of learning more about it, I would bounce off of him. And then Rob Wendell, who owns Lake Michigan Angler, who was part of Great Lakes originally. I've talked with those guys. Super awesome, very knowledgeable about everything. And yeah, they'll make sure you're set up.
When I had planned to go up there, I called and talked to him at the tackle shop, and I was like, I don't really know what I want or know what I need, but I gave him a $1 limit, and I'm like, hey, just ship me what you think I need for that money. And he did. He sent me some pretty nice lures, and I've still got all of them. Got new hooks on them and ready to go. So, who doesn't like tackle, right? Adding some tackle. So now, Kendall, you mentioned you like to do some pan fishing, right?
Yeah,
as well as bass fishing.
Sticking on. Yeah. No, I like to target all types of fish, man. It's really fun to me. I'm not just a bass fisherman, and I know a lot of people are gung ho on that, and that's fine because I like them too. But I like targeting, I like doing ultralight pan fishing, I like spillway fishing, I like throwing for junk fish, trash fish, just all types of things.
Nice.
It's fun to me, and just exploring new places. Kind of why I got into it. In this club as well, just not for the tournament scene, just. I really enjoy exploring new places. I work in the hospitality industry, so it's kind of my.
Nice. Yeah. That's, the good thing I like about doing the tournament trails is it not only the people is my favorite thing in the fish, but it almost forces you to get outside your comfort zone and fish places you probably wouldn't normally fish.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can find. So Corey, what other types of fishing do you like to do? Like just mainly bass or?
No. We like to hit the river and go catfishing.
Oh, nice.
So that's
what
pretty much all we do around here.
Is it? Yeah. From a boat or from a bank or?
Well, we do it from the kayaks or we do it from the bank.
Nice. Now, what river you like to hit?
We go up here to Pere Marquette, which is, I think the Illinois River feeds into the Mississippi right there. So we fish right in there.
So what's the biggest catfish you hold in?
My biggest catfish, 57 pounds.
Yeah. That's a monster. I hope that was in a big boat.
No, that one was from the bank. On the kayak, it's like 35.
That's a lot of weight to be flipping over the side of a kayak. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is that just sitting with dropping cut bait, or how do you like to fish out of it?
Cut bait, shad, skipjack, bluegill, brim.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
Kendall.
awesome.
No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just shaking my head. I was like, "This fun stuff, man."
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it'd be interesting. You know, I know our tournament trail is all about bass fishing. It'd be interesting to have a multi-species aspect to that at some point.
That'd be cool.
That'd really have some
trash fish.
trash.
Yeah.
Now, what do you classify as
That's
trash
what I was
fish?
going to ask, because it was like, to me, it's only a couple things.
So, I hope you were going to say carp.
Yeah, like carp and drum.
Okay,
That's about the
so
only two I think of trash fish.
carp, drum.
Yeah, maybe gar, but a lot of people, especially down south, eat gar and love it. So I don't know. Guess depends on the region.
Boy, I used to do a lot of bow fishing, and I had some friends that tried to cook a gar and trying to butcher a gar to get it ready to eat. It's almost more work than it's worth. It involved 10 snips, a hatchet. I mean, it was some serious tools just to get to a little bit of white meat in that thing. Yeah. So, any particular tournament you're looking forward to as we look at the last half of the season here? Any body of water in particular?
The caffeine before, but it's probably been since 2015, 2016. So I don't even remember that lake. So I'm kind of excited to go back. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard it's gotten pretty good. I mean, at least to, some of the guys who always do really good at caffeine. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of sort of comparing it to the vague stuff that I remember from them, and then just seeing how it all shakes out.
Nice. What about you guys? Do you looking forward to any particular body of water?
Like I said, I'm looking forward to Taylorville. I ain't fished that one yet, so I'm looking to see what that one's about.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I don't have high expectations for that one, but it might be one of those with just a small bag might be able to win the tournament. So it might be right up my alley.
Never know.
Because I can usually find smalls. Yeah, it just takes one or two big ones, and you're probably going to be fine.
For myself, honestly, not really. I've only been to 2 lakes on our trail this year. I'm like in the past, and that was Cedar and Little Grassy. So it's all just a learning experience from here.
Nice. Well, listen, I want to thank all three of you for taking the time to visit with us tonight and sharing kind of the secrets of what put you in a good spot at the end of this tournament. You guys are all great fishermen, it sounds like, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. Susie wins another one. We're probably going to have to name something after her. If it's 3 in a row, I don't know if that's been done for a long time.
Plaque.
Who?
I told Josh she deserves a plaque.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything you want to add before we go ahead and close for the afternoon or evening here?
So I actually have 2 different stories from Little Grassy. The first story from my day of pre-fishing on Friday. So
yeah, I'll be inserting a photo in this video. It's good.
You can insert the video too if you want to, because it just So I left home about 5:30 in the morning because it was a 4-hour drive. The night before was obviously 4th of July, so I got in about 9:45 or so, and there were already 2 trucks and trailers there. I think one of them was Kessler, and the other one was Dustin. So I was like, all right, there's a couple people here and whatnot. And then there was this SUV just kind of sitting in the middle of the parking lot, but, I didn't really pay attention much or whatnot. And so I get out, I start getting things ready to load the kayak and everything. And the guy in the SUV, starts talking and whatnot, super friendly and whatnot. He's like, oh, man, you got a pretty awesome setup there and whatnot, so just casual talk, nothing out of the norm. Yet.
Yet. Yet.
And so, I'm not even paying attention. And like at first glance, he's a dude, he's an older dude, just chilling in the back of his SUV. And I see like a wheelchair leaning up against the SUV. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he's handicapped or, has some kind of disability or whatnot, so he's probably just, taking a break or something, didn't even think much of it or whatnot. And I don't even know if it's related to anything. So, I'm coming around one side of the kayak, he's asking me a question and I'm turning to look at him every now and then. And I look and then I'm like, then I do like a couple double takes and I'm like, oh my God. So what I thought was purple shorts was the only piece of clothing he had on, was not indeed purple shorts. It was a purple towel and he was completely naked underneath that towel. And he was not in any way, shape, or form trying very hard to keep himself covered up.
Somebody put
And it got
videos of me
awkward
when I was swimming.
real fast. So what I didn't even know like how to act or think or anything in that moment. I was like, oh my God. I just like think. And so I'm like, he's trying to talk to me and I'm like, yep, yeah, trying to do real quick answers. And so I'm like, all right, I'm
just give a little context of what we're talking about here. We
even
went
like,
off the rails.
I can't make this up. This is like the weirdest experience I've ever had in my life. Like, I've ran into dudes and whatnot, I travel alone all the time, being a woman. But one time I didn't conceal carry, I was like, okay. I was never worried or concerned about my safety at any time, but I was definitely just really weirded out. And so I went back and sat in my truck and I texted my husband and I'm like, if I don't call you in 20 minutes, you better call me. And so I was sitting there holding my phone like this because I didn't want to make it obvious that like I wanted to take a picture of him. And the only reason why I was doing that is because, I for whatever reason, something bad were to happen. I was like, Adam, here's a picture of the dude. Like, I don't even know what to think right now. So, I was like trying to get a picture, I took a video or whatnot. I'm just like, oh my God, like what?
Hold on a second. Got this queued up. Here we go.
Cue it up.
Hold on. Let's see here. Right video. Okay. Here we go.
I just
if I disappear and you're looking for my body, start with this car.
I was also trying to like show what his vehicle looked like too. I was like, worst case scenario, whatever. Again, I was never scared. I was just really weirded out. And the fact that he was just just the fact that he was just very chill, did not give a damn, and just flapping in the breeze. I was just
but Susie, we need to put this in context. You did win the tournament the next day, so
I did.
Is this actually your like good luck charm here?
Well, there's another story to tell you on the day of the tournament.
She has some luck, man.
So anyways, yeah. Let me tell you. So on Friday when I ran into Kessler and Dustin, I was like, guys, I just had the most bizarre experience at the boat ramp. And Kessler was like, oh yeah, did you run into the guy who had his dick hanging out? And I'm like, yes. Apparently he'd been there for like several hours. And I was
just chilling.
what the hell? I was just so dumbfounded by the whole situation. I was just like, what is happening?
We're gonna have to do a special on safety while traveling.
Right.
People you run into.
So anyway, tournament day. What I usually have a like a certain procedure that I do. Before the tournament, like I have a routine, my keys go in a certain place, my phone goes in a certain place or whatnot, and then same thing for, into the tournament, everything goes in a certain place or whatnot. what had thrown me off for tournament day is I had a different pair of shorts on that had very small, shallow pockets. And so I had originally put my truck keys in there, and I was like, it felt like they were going to fall out. So I was like, all right, I'll just hold on to them or whatever. And so I was chilling at the back of, oh my gosh, whose trailer was that?
You're about to pass out. I had to give her my Gatorade. I was like, man, she's looking.
Yeah, kid. I was just like, does anybody have an extra bottle of water that, I could get? And, Kendall was awesome and gave me his Gatorade that, he was drinking. And so, let's see here. I'm looking at Michael Radicke. So he had his trailer like right up there where the table was and everything for the awards and whatnot. And so me being just completely distracted or whatnot, they start calling the top 5 up or whatnot. And I had my phone in my hand and I set the water bottle I had and my truck key down on the end of his trailer. Okay. And so, they go through the whole awards and everything and whatnot, and then of course, I'm talking with people or whatnot. And they're like, yeah, let's go down to the dock to, take pictures or whatnot. I'm like, okay. And then I go to turn and I'm like, where'd the trailer go? And then I was like, truck key was on the back of his trailer. When I tell you, like, I literally, like, died inside. I, like, literally died inside. I was like, oh, my God, this is not happening. I went from, like, an extreme high to an extreme low. I was like, oh, my God. But I tell you what, though, like, one of the greatest things about this club is, kind of like what Kendall and Corey have said, in this club and how everybody will go out of their way to do something, even when they're not asked or anything like that. It's just, how genuine everybody is. So, a couple people jumped in their trucks, and went up down the road. Josh was trying to call Michael, but like the cell signal wasn't really good or whatnot. But then he finally got a hold of him. And by whatever luck and stars aligned,
you're kidding me.
Michael had only went like 5 miles down the road. He was going to be like camping at like a marina nearby. And so he got a hold of him. And he's like, hey, listen, like Susie had her truck key on the end of your trailer, man. Can you check? And he's like, yeah. So like he went and checked it and it wasn't on there. And I'm trying to think of who was saying that, oh yeah, I bet at, this turn on the road to that marina is where they are because it's like, I guess where there's like a common bump or something like that. And so, Michael actually got in his truck and whatnot and was driving back. And sure enough, where they said this turn and bump was right there in the middle of the road.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. I was just like, is this reality right now? I was like, I cannot believe I did that. So like, I have a special keychain now. So like, I have like a little wire ring thingy, and then like I have a neck lanyard that I'm gonna have.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. I can tell you that.
I'm so happy to hear that people have those troubles. Not the naked man trouble, but the ring trouble. I'm always worried about the ring. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Classic.
and anymore, like I'm never fazed by it, but I'm just always like, anybody else, it would just be kind of like, what? But for me, I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. Like,
Wow.
What else interesting is going to happen? But then, my luck really turned bad. And Sunday night when I was getting my stuff cleaned up, I found 2 cracks in my kayak. So, yeah, but I should have a solution figured out by this weekend. So.
Man, that's a relief, but man,
yeah,
thank goodness you found them when you were in your garage instead on the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got water coming from both directions.
Yeah.
That would not be good. Hey, I want to thank you guys all again. Thanks for joining us, and love hearing the stories, and hope to see all of you at the next tournament. But you guys have great fishing wherever you go. Thanks again for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.